Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I really wanted to sit down and play with a few new products mixed in with some old products. I was mostly inspired by an eyeshadow palette that was sent to me in PR. I've actually seen this eyeshadow palette floating around. I think it technically launched in August, but it is totally perfect for fall. I know I've been trying a lot of different eyeshadow palettes lately, but for me, eyeshadow is extra fun during this time of the year. And so anyway, NARS sent me this palette. It's called their Climax eyeshadow palette. I did unbox it over on my Instagram stories, and a lot of you guys DM'd me saying that you wanted to see me use it, and I truly just, my heart like fluttered over this color story for fall. Take a look at this, you guys. I mean, come on, is this not like the perfect neutral but also somewhat colorful palette? I love how there's 4 mattes, 5 shimmers. This one kind of looks more like a satin, but you have some pretty bold looking shimmers. I mean, we're gonna see if they live up to what they look like, but there's like a mauve. I love the greens in there. There's even a shimmery blue. This to me is perfect for fall, just color wise. So I really wanted to try it out. I'm also going to be trying out some other new things I was really excited about, like this little brush collection right here, which is brand new from BK Beauty and Angie Hot Flashy here on YouTube. I will have Angie's channel linked down below. I've been subscribed to her for so long and really enjoy her videos. She designed these brushes specifically for mature skin, but of course anyone can use them. And I watched her video and I'm so excited to try these out. And then BK Beauty is an amazing brush brand, and they also have an eyeshadow palette that I love too, by Lisa J Makeup here on YouTube. So I'll have both their channels linked down below, but I'm really excited to try these out and use them to help me create my look today. I grabbed a couple other things too. I'm going to be reusing like the Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation, which I've had a few more days to try out since filming my video and really love it. And then I also wanted to throw in one of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palettes. I always get really curious and excited when Hourglass launches their holiday palettes every year. So we've got their 2021 palette. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to prep my eyes with my eyeshadow base. I'm going to use what I always use. I think this is perfect since it's a NARS palette too. I'm going to use the NARS eyeshadow primer in the shade Light. I'm just going to blend that out with my Rare Beauty brush because I do want to kind of save all of the BK Beauty brushes for actual eyeshadow and not get primer on it. So I'm just going to blend this out. By the way, I already did my brows off camera. I have been reaching for the Makeup by Mario brow pencil over the past couple of days. And I really like it. Like, I'm really enjoying how easy and effortless it is to apply. So anyway, that's what I've got on my brows. And I painted my nails before filming. I used Lights Lacquer. Oh, I can't remember the shade name, but it's like the perfect deep blue. It almost has a teal shift to it. It's hard to see under this lighting. Anyway, I'm really excited about my sweater, my nails, the brow pencil. So far, so good. We're going to start off with, let's see, we're going to start with the lightest shade in the palette. I'm going to dip right here, and I'm going to be using the BK Beauty and Angie A503 brush to start this out. I actually saw my friend Kelsey, or Rosalie Rouge, over on Instagram talk about this palette like a couple of months ago, and she made me want to buy it way back then, but in my mind I was like, oh, it's not quite fall yet. It was still August, so I was still doing like summery makeup, but I really wanted to purchase this when fall rolled around, and then it showed up in PR the other day and I was like, oh, I have to try this out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this in the crease and a little bit above as my transition shade. As far as the brushes are concerned, so far the bristles are so super soft. I really love that about these brushes, and Angie said in her video, which I'll have her video linked down below if you want to kind of hear the backstory on these brushes, because sometimes it's better coming from the person who created it, obviously. I love hearing the backstory behind, you know, the thought process behind products and collaborations. So anyway, in a nutshell, she wanted to create super soft brushes so that on more mature eyelids, it doesn't tug or drag, because as we all get older, the skin around the eyes kind of loosens a little bit. And so she designed these brushes to really gently work around the eye area to prevent further tugging from your brushes, which I think is so amazing. So I can really feel how gentle these are. I can't not use this shade right here. So I'm gonna dip into this using the A501 brush. I'm gonna tap off the excess, and okay, I'm trying to think of if I wanna do like a halo eye. I think I might. Well, I don't know. Okay, we're just gonna deepen up the crease a little bit, I think, with this. No. Guys, I'm literally thinking out loud right now. I'm just gonna kind of buff this into the outer edge to start to create some depth. You know what? I do want to do a halo eye, so I'm gonna bring this kind of mauve color into this inner portion here to start to build out that shape. These are blending beautifully. I feel like half of it is the formula, the other half are these brushes so far. Super high quality. If you guys aren't familiar with BK Beauty brushes, they seriously are such good quality brushes. It's the kind of brush brand that, like, if you were to pick up a set or start to build your collection with, they're gonna last you basically a lifetime if you take care of them, you know what I mean? Like, they're such good, high quality brushes for an amazing price point for what you get, in my opinion. Ooh, I really am loving this color. I'm gonna pop back into the A503 brush and just make sure the edges are blended out. Okay, I am just debating in my mind if I should go with the greens, because they really stand out to me in this palette, but then also there's this amazing blue color. But I feel like the blue would be amazing like as an all over, like one and done shade, so I'm kind of leaning toward the green, but should I mess up this color? You know what? Let's swatch the green, this shimmery green in the middle. I just want to kind of get a feel for what I would be working with. Okay, how pretty. Let me show it up close if it will focus. Here we go. So actually when it's blended out, it almost has like a champagne undertone in there. It's absolutely gorgeous. Let's just, while we're here, let's swatch the other ones. Oh my goodness, these are so buttery and so metallic and reflective. Look at that. Wow. I'm gonna dip into the blue. I'm so interested, guys, the blue. And I'll be honest, blue is not my #1 eyeshadow choice, but this is making me want to play with the blue shade. Look at that. Oh my gosh, okay. Take this last kind of taupey gold shade. We're gonna swatch it over by the green. Wow. I mean, this is seriously perfect for fall. Oh my gosh, I'm just in love already. Okay. We gotta make decisions. I can't waste any more time, but I'm having such a hard time deciding like which direction to go because I want to use every single shimmer shade, and that would just not be the cutest look if I did. You know what? I have to do the green. I'm gonna go ahead and take this on my finger, and I'm gonna start to build this in the center. Now, this will be the deepest shade that we have on the lid thus far, but I will go ahead and deepen up the outer edges after I apply this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of pop that on the very center. You know what's nice about this palette too? Even though it's so great for fall, I feel like you could really play up the eyes for the holidays as well. So it'd be a great palette to take you through the end of the year, especially with that blue. I think it's such a pretty holiday tone actually. And then these mauves and golds, like you could wear this all year round basically, but especially in fall and winter in my opinion, it's just perfect. I'm just gonna keep building this up in the center. Now I want the green to have a little bit more real estate, so I am blending it out in almost a square, a very messy square, but just to really make sure that we get quite a bit of that green, because I am gonna layer on a few more colors on the edges and also maybe pop on a little bit of that bright gold in the very center to help with the halo eye effect. We're gonna dip into the A504 brush, which is such a little mini buffer brush. I'm super excited to try this out. Okay, so I want to first take some of the matte green. It's almost like this khaki green. Oh, so beautiful. I'm gonna make sure that there's a little bit of a matte green on the edges of the shimmer. So I'm basically using that to blend out the very edge. And I'm kind of sweeping it inward because I do want to deepen things up a little bit more with another color, but I want that depth on the edge of the green to be the green. And I'm going to connect that at the top as well. We're working in a very unique order today. Not on purpose necessarily, mostly because I'm so indecisive with the colors. So I'm literally just going with the flow as I get an idea. I'm trying to execute it well and hoping it all comes together the way that I have in my mind. Okay, so now that we have that kind of etched around the green square, if you will, we're gonna dip into this shade. I'm actually gonna use the exact same brush. This is the deepest matte shade in the palette. It almost has like a burgundy undertone. And this is what I'm wanting to really ground those edges on the eyes. So far, I am obsessed with the precision that this brush gives, but also since it is fluffy, you can really do a great job blending out the shades, but like in a precise spot, if that makes sense. Super, super nice. Wow. I'm gonna take what's left on the brush because I don't want it too extremely deep right here, but I want the same color on the inside, again, to help with our halo effect. So I'm just gonna kind of pop that on the inner portion and then lightly kind of connect the two in the crease. All right, same thing on this eye. I'm really falling in love with this palette. I was looking online to make sure it was still available, and it is, as I'm filming this anyway, but it does say that it's limited edition, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't think this should be limited edition. I think it needs to be around for a while. So I saw it on a couple of websites. I will have the options down below. I don't know if it ever was at Ulta or Sephora or if it was exclusive to other retailers, but I know it's on the NARS website right now and on a couple other places, so I'll make sure to find as many spots as I can and link it down below for you guys just in case you're wanting to grab it or you're interested, just because if it is limited edition, I hate limited edition items, you guys, especially when they're really, really good, because then I panic and then it's like you almost don't want to use it because you don't want to use it up knowing that you can't rebuy it. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm gonna go back into the A503 and I'm actually gonna dip into that first shade that we used, and I'm just gonna sweep this a little bit closer to the brow and a little bit more in like this and then up into the brow, if that makes sense. Kind of like that. I want it to be super blended, almost like watercolor paint. All right, we're gonna go ahead and I think I want to dip into this shade in the top corner. I'm gonna take my pinky and I'm gonna pop this in the very, very center of the lid. So again, this will kind of push things forward and add to that halo effect that I'm going for. Ooh, so pretty. I want that to be a little more precise than the green though. And with the center shade like this, I don't mind if it gets a little bit higher than the crease. In fact, I actually like how that looks. If it kind of goes up almost toward the brow a little bit. Same thing on this eye. I'm layering up a little bit more of that deep, almost burgundy brown shade on the outer corner. Okay, I really like how that looks right now. I'm actually gonna use an eyeliner. I've been so into this Charlotte Tilbury double-ended eyeliner. And that's saying a lot because I don't usually wear a lot of eyeliner, but when I'm wearing more bold eyeshadow looks, I tend to reach for it a little bit more just to create that definition by the lash line. Anyway, this is the Super Nudes liner. I'm going to take the dark brown shade and I'm going to line the entire top lash line with this. Just a thin line up close to the lash line. Okay, let's pop on mascara. I'm going to actually take my L'Oreal Lash Paradise. It has been a hot minute since I've used this. I think this mascara will be perfect for this eye look though. I'm gonna really build it up on just the top lashes for now, and then we're gonna move into complexion. Okay, I'm just gonna clean up any fallout underneath the eyes. I wanted to use my Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream. A little bit goes a long way. That might have even been a little too much. There are very few creams that I notice a major difference when wearing it under makeup, and this is one of them. I don't know how Tatcha did this, but it really does create the most wonderful canvas for underneath makeup if you are wanting a super glowy, more dewy kind of complexion. The crazy thing is, even though it is a dewy cream and you do get that effect, somehow it stays balanced. I don't know. It's so unique, so interesting. I don't know if any of you guys have tried this, and maybe if you have, you'll know what I'm talking about, but it's a gorgeous product for underneath makeup. And again, a little goes a long way. I feel like I actually used a little too much today, but that's all right. The weather's getting a little colder, so I could use a little extra boost of hydration. Let's prep the lips too while we're at it. I'm gonna take my Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. I almost said in the shade, but it's the flavor or scent Peach Iced Tea. I'm just going to apply that all over the lips. Next, I'm going to take the Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation. I actually did end up buying a second shade. So when I first tried this out in my video last week, I used the shade Light Vanilla, which is this. Had a little bit more of like a warm yellow undertone, and it was kind of obvious in natural light, to me anyway, and on me. So I went back on Amazon and I bought Rose Ivory, which is a little more neutral and a little bit more of a cool undertone or a pink undertone. And this really works, I think, on my skin. I bet you I could mix the two and get a really nice shade out of it too. That way I could use up both products. Actually, let's try that. I'm gonna mix both shades, but I'll put them side by side so you can see, just in case you're similar shade to me, you can see what I'm talking about. So here's the light vanilla, here's the rose ivory or whatever it was called. You can see the difference in undertone there. Let's mix them and see what happens. Actually, that's a nice shade. All right, I'm just gonna dot this on the face and then pick up what's left on my brush and spread that around evenly. I'm wanting to see how this foundation would work with a little bit more like built up for more of a full glam kind of a situation, because I've been using it for the past few days straight. Like it's been the only foundation that I've been using. But for the past few days, I haven't really done too glam of a look. It's all been like 5-minute makeup looks since I've been kind of running around a little bit more. And so I just use like a little bit less and it just blends into my natural skin really well. So I wanted to see what would happen if I built it up a little more. For concealer, I wanted to reach for my Hourglass concealer again. This is the shade Silk. I'm gonna mix 2 shades. That's the one thing about this concealer, is I do feel like I have to mix the shades, which isn't ideal, just to get my right undertone. So I'm gonna mix Silk and Cotton, which Cotton's a little bit lighter. It has more of a yellow undertone. Just gonna mix those all over the skin. And this is where I'm excited to use this brush from the Angie collection with BK Beauty. This is the A506. Look how beautifully this is shaped for concealer. Let's go ahead and buff this out. Wow, it's so soft. I love how you can really buff and blend, but also get a pretty precise application so far. In her video, she said this was actually inspired by one of her favorite BK Beauty foundation brushes. And so they just made it like a mini version, and it is so amazing. Oh, that blends things out so nicely. I'm someone who, when I use a brush to blend out my concealer, I still like to go through and press it into the skin with a sponge. But I like using a brush to kind of get it where I want the concealer and then use the sponge to get rid of any brush marks and just really press it into the skin. But that really blended things out super well. There weren't brush marks like I usually get, so super, super nice. If you didn't catch my most recent video, I finally filmed a video where I shared the top 10 powders according to you. If you missed it, I will have that link down below. I've been doing that as a series on my channel, and so far we've done primer, foundation, concealer, and powder. And up next is bronzer. You can submit your favorite bronzer over on that video. I have a link in that description box if you want to participate. But anyway, it's gotten me like reminded of some of my old favorite powders. So I'm using one of them right now. This is the Wet n Wild powder, the Photo Focus. I'm just gonna apply this underneath the eyes, also in the T-zone and on the nose. Then I'm gonna grab my larger brush and set the outside of the face with this. Okay, let's try out the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette in Universe. They actually have another palette as well. This is the lighter tone palette. So I'm gonna go into the shade number 1, which is the finishing powder. And I'm just gonna put that all over the skin just to kind of add a bit of a glow. Next, I'm gonna dip into the bronzer shade, which is called Glistening Bronze Light. We're gonna use this to warm things up. It's really pretty actually. Normally I try to steer clear from bronzers that have more of a red undertone just with my skin tone, but this actually somehow works, I feel like. It just makes my skin look healthy and almost sun-kissed in a more natural way because of that more red undertone. Okay, we're gonna move back to the eyes. I always do this. I do bronzer and then the eyes, and then we go back to like blush and highlighter. So let's dip back into that NARS palette. I'm I'm going to start off by mixing these two shades. I just dusted off this brush on my Sigma switch. Again, this is the A504 brush. And I'm just going to go ahead and go across the entire lower lash line with this to start. Next, I'm going to be taking the A505 brush, which is this flat brush. She said that this was designed to be used with shimmers on like the lids. I'm going to use it for both shimmers and mattes. I'm going to dip into the deep matte shade. If it would focus, my camera doesn't focus very easily these days. I don't know what's going on. Okay, this shade right here. There we go. I'm going to tap off the excess. I'm going to start to build out a little bit of shape on the lower lash line with this on the outer edge. And then I'm going to take what's left on that brush and apply it on the inner corner. Well, actually, it's not quite the inner corner. It's just barely beside the inner corner. You know what I mean. Right here. All right, now I am going to try to use this with the shimmer shade. So I'm just going to dip into the green, and I'm going to press that into the brush on the back of my hand a little bit, and then apply it to the center lower lash line. Okay, I did end up getting the brush a little bit damp, just to help it stick to that lower lash line without fallout. I'm just going to use the same brush and dip into that more champagne shade. We're going to focus that on the very, very center of the lid, or I mean lower lash line. I really want this to be a little bit more of a sultry look, so I'm taking that same brown eyeliner and lining the waterline. All right, mascara now on the lower lashes, the same exact L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I'm just sweeping away any fallout, and I'm gonna touch up the brows. I'm just gonna use my same Mario pencil for that. Look at the difference that makes to have more of a structured brow versus this one that kind of got faded from the foundation. It helps so much to revisit the brows if you do your brows first, like I do, just to make sure you don't lose that shape, especially with a more bold eye look. I mean, you don't want your brows to compete with a bold eyeshadow look, but it really helps to keep that shape a little more precise. I think it just helps with the overall aesthetic of everything. Okay, I'm gonna dip into the highlight shade in the Hourglass palette. Even though I really don't feel like I need highlighter with that finishing powder, I'm gonna add a little anyway. We'll be extra glowy today. Then I'm going to take the other face brush that Angie created. It's this right here. This is the A507, and I'm going to use this for blush because when she was talking about it, she was talking about using it with blush. I'm sure you could use it for whatever, but I'm going to actually mix the two blush shades in this palette and tap off the excess and then just kind of start to press that into the skin. Those two mixed are such a pretty color. I'm going to put a little on the chin, put a little on the forehead, across the nose. And then I'm going to take the A507. I'm just going to use my Sigma switch to make sure there's not any dark colors left on it. Let me make sure. Yeah, and then I'm going to dip into the highlight in the Hourglass palette. And I'm going to make sure to highlight the inner corner with this. There's a little bit more fallout in the pan than maybe I'm used to, or maybe it's just the packaging that's kind of showing it a little more. I'm not sure. It's applying beautifully though, so that's not a deal breaker. I'm just kind of highlighting the brow bone as well. Okay, I'm going to wipe off any foundation on the lips. And I'm going to line the lips with this Buxom Powerline Plumping Lip Liner in the shade High Def Honey. It's a little bit more brown. So we'll see how I like this. It's almost a little too warm toned for what ended up going on the cheeks. So we're going to do the other shade that I picked because I wasn't sure what direction I would go with the eyeshadow, you know. Let's try Hush Hush Henna. It's the same Buxom formula. I mean, this is also warm toned, but it's a little bit more pink, which matches the blush better. I'm backtracking again. Sometimes lip color can be the hardest thing to finalize for me. Sometimes I nail it on the first try though. Other times, it takes a few times. I think I might go to a classic. Let's do the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude. I think this will really work. Yeah, this one just never fails me. Especially when you have more of a bold eye look and you don't want to compete with the lip look or the lip color. This one really is amazing, always. Okay, I'm gonna stick to the Charlotte Tilbury theme and use this lipstick. This is in the shade Runway Royalty. I'm gonna blend those together with my finger. I'm gonna go in the T-zone with my number 7 powder. This is the Lift and Illuminate Translucent Finishing Powder. Spoiler alert, this made it into the top 10 in my powder video that I posted. Again, that's linked down below. I'm just gonna use this to smooth out the T-zone a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of this Milani Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper in the shade Soft Rose. I just want a little bit of a gloss. I'm I'm just gonna do a teeny bit right in the center of the lips and use my finger to press that in. I'm just gonna assess the situation and take what's left on the bronzer brush and just kind of even things out a little more on the forehead. I'm gonna set the face with the Desi Do Me Over Prep, Set, and Refresh Face Mist. This has an amazing, like, non-aerosol mist to it. I don't know how they did it. It's so nice though. Just gonna kind of let that sink into the skin and then gently take my sponge and just press that down. And then of course I always have to take my Rimmel Stay Matte powder and just make sure the T-zone is balanced. I'm gonna set the brows with the Mario Master Hold Brow Gel. Since I already used the pencil, I will also use Mario's brow gel to complete the look. All right, you guys, so that completes this look. I really love how it turned out. There's some things that are really working and other things that I'm not sure what happened. I think I learned that the Bourjois foundation is maybe better with the less is more approach. Either that or it's the concealer that I use. Maybe I used too much of it. It just looks a little bit like cakey in the T-zone, which is where I applied the concealer. So that's what's making me think maybe it was that. It had been a while since I've used it, so I don't really remember how well it worked for me. I think I like that concealer. I don't know. Something's like a little off in the complexion. I think too, I used the finishing powder from Hourglass in this area and it's emphasizing my pores a little bit. So note to self, obviously don't use like shimmer in areas that you don't want texture emphasized. Not that those powders do. I feel like they really do usually smooth out the skin, the Hourglass powders. But for me, I have to be really careful in the T-zone and it's looking a little bit too obvious. So that's what's not working. What is working is I feel like the glow on the sides of the face, the blush color is stunning. The eyeshadow I really love. I love how sultry it is, but actually very wearable at the same time. It's not overpowering and a very inspiring color scheme in my opinion. I also love the lip combo that ended up working well. So yeah, I am so in love with this palette. It is priced a little higher than what I would have hoped. I think it retails for $49, which is close to some larger high-end palettes out there, if not more expensive than some of those bigger palettes. So that's where it's kind of like, oh, I wish it was around the $35 to even $40 range. That would make me feel better about the price of this. But with that being said, it is so beautiful. The formulas are really nice. I love how this looks and I love every single color in here. That's the thing is like sometimes you might pay $65 or $70 for a high-end palette, but you might not dip into every shade depending on the palette. So that's something to take into consideration. I was gonna say this would be a great palette to kind of keep your eye on during the Sephora sale, but I didn't see it on Sephora's website. So maybe around the holidays, you never know, NARS Cosmetics could do some sort of a sale. I don't know, it's like, it's always hard with limited edition products too. Like, do you wait to try to get it on sale? Do you just go for it if you know you're gonna use it just in case it sells out? I don't know. I just feel like it's absolutely perfect for fall. And I think you could use it for every day as well. These shades are so pretty. I could picture myself using this all over the lids by themselves, just with the mattes. And you could also pop on a little bit of the shimmer in the inner corner or on the lid to add a little something. I am especially excited to try out this blue all over the lid. I think this would look beautiful paired with this matte color and with this in the crease. I think it'd be so nice. Anyway, really was dying to try out that palette. I'm hoping that since I was into it and really wanted to see how it worked, maybe somebody out there was also interested to see how this palette, you know, worked and the color scheme and how it looks on the eyes. So double thumbs up for that. I have nothing but amazing things to say about this brush set so far. I think it's gorgeous. You can tell how much thought went into the bristles, the shapes of the brushes. It really did help me achieve a beautiful eye look. I love how I really enjoyed every single brush because sometimes in brush sets, I find myself using like one or two consistently. And you know, that's normal, I feel like, for people to really gravitate toward certain brushes. But in this case, I do feel like I'm gonna use every single brush. I was especially excited about this little mini concealer moment. It was so beautiful and felt so plush underneath the eyes. So amazing job, Angie. You can tell so much love went into this collaboration and collection. Thank you for sending it to me. I appreciate Lisa and Angie so much. Yeah, I really enjoyed this little set. If you're someone who's looking for a new great brush set, or if you are somebody who has more mature skin and you've never been able to find gentle brushes that work well, definitely watch Angie's video and see if this is something that would work for you, because I feel like it would. It's definitely designed for more mature skin, so I think that's amazing about this set. I love how she designed it with different concerns in mind. What else did we try today? Oh yeah, the Hourglass palette. As always, I mean, Hourglass's powder products, the blushes, the ambient lighting powders, I know they're some of your favorite products ever to splurge on, and you know, they're some of mine as well. I do feel like every time I use them, I'm reminded of how stunning they are on the skin. The bronzer is more wearable than I thought it would be. I actually do like the warm undertone. The blushes were beautiful, paired on top of each other. One thing to note about this palette is every product has a really nice sheen to it. I feel like Hourglass typically has that kind of a finish. There's some blushes that have a little bit of a softer glow to it. This palette feels pretty glowy to me, so just keep that in mind. You know, if you're somebody who doesn't love that kind of an effect, this might not be for you, but if you are someone who loves like a baked powder formula and you want just a healthy glow all over the skin, that's what you're gonna get with every single one of these. So yeah, I really do love how it made my complexion look as far as the glow goes, and also the blush color is super pretty. All right, so that's basically it. I just really genuinely wanted to try that palette, honestly, and the brushes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing the look that I created. Let me know in the comments if there's another eyeshadow palette or something that you're inspired by right now for fall that you would like to see me use. I am in full fall mode right now because, you know, I feel like fall is kind of short-lived before we get into winter, at least here in Utah. So I'm trying to really max out the fall makeup looks. So again, let me know if there's anything that you want to see me try out that you're thinking of picking up, or even if you want to see me just reuse it because you have something existing in your collection and I can maybe create some more fall looks using some other products. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button, and if you're already a subscriber but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. That's it for me today. I hope you guys have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye!